So, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. So, uh, just 23 minutes until the US market opens, and the inflation data just came in. The numbers they have been pretty much neutral. You can already see this. The forecast was at 0.3. The actual is also 0.3. CPI month on month 0.2, 0.2 year on year, 2.6 and 2.6. So nothing really important around here. I updated this in my channel as well. I'm not going to get into the details of that, like what exactly has changed in terms of food prices or oil prices or the price of your favorite cookie, obviously. But yeah, it's very much neutral, which in my opinion could be a positive thing as well. But our job is not to look at all of these things from a fundamental perspective. And by the I was talking about the possibility that we can see a new all-time high forming uh in the first like 2 to 3 hours of the US market opens. But once again, coming back to the inflation numbers, nothing too important around here. Just like the last week when we had FOMC, it was nothing too important, right? The data was obviously positive, but the reaction was a little bit mixed up. So 15 minutes till the US market opens, and we are going to see what the actual reaction is going to be. But since price is trading around its all-time high, it's not like we have historical data present around that region, right? 89,800 is the last all-time high. 89,800, 89,900, this is the all-time high region, which means that we don't really have any historical data available. We don't have any data points. So it's not like, unlike the other situations in which you would simply just look at the resistance areas, you would simply just say that, okay, there is a supply zone present around here, or maybe there is an order block, or maybe there is a fair value gap, there is an imbalance. You have a very limited number of options available. If you guys remember, almost like 2 to 3 months ago when we first started the YouTube channel, I did this live stream about what possibly could be the new all-time high for Bitcoin. And in that live stream, it took me like an hour or two, and I using Fib retracement tool and Fib extensions tools, I tried to make a prediction, or whatever you would like to call it, to see where exactly the next all-time high for this cycle could be, or where exactly the next major retracement could happen, right? So if you guys have not watched that video over my YouTube channel, it's still there. Please make sure to do that, right? Because all the all the possible things that you can do with, like all of these tools, Fib retracement tool, Fib extension tools, I have already mentioned in that YouTube video. But coming back to the point, I was saying that you have a very limited number of options available in this situation. One option is that you can look at the order book, and you may see where exactly the next major supply zone is, or where exactly the next major resistance is, or the sell wall is, whatever you would like to call it. But that's not a very accurate representation of what exactly is going to happen with market. Because remember this thing, that if you're looking at an order book and you are seeing that there is a sell order worth 1,000 Bitcoin at $91,000, that does not mean that price is going to have some sort of rejection around 91,000 or 91,500. Most people who are beginners, who don't understand how exactly the order books work or how exactly the market moves, they think that market is basically being moved by the limit orders. But any of these order books, they're only tracking the limit orders. They are not tracking the market orders, which means that at some point in time, if someone decides to dump 500 BTC, 200 BTC, 300 BTC at the market price, then that order is not going to be somewhere in the order books, right? This is first thing. And secondly, market is not moved by the maker orders. Market is not moved by the limit orders. It is actually moved by the taker orders or the market orders. That's how market basically moves. And when price would go back up to, let's suppose, $91,000 regions, if it has already been there and it goes back up to $91,000 region, and you have a big sell order present around there, then the market orders, or the amount of buying pressure you are getting at that point, is basically going to be the deciding factor to decide where exactly market is headed towards. If the buying pressure is enough to go through that sell wall of limit orders, then price would simply just go back up, maybe to 92,000, 93,000. But if the buying pressure is not enough, then it would start going down from there. So that's why I'm saying that usually that there are different perspectives, there are different ways that you can look at it. Some people like to use order book, some people like to use order flow, some people like me like to use these simple tools like fib retracement, fib extensions, and using that, try to judge where exactly the price could be headed towards. But every tool has its own limitations. So if you are somebody who is just looking at the order books and deciding that where exactly market is headed towards, that once again is not a very accurate representation. The reason why I'm exclusively mentioning this thing is because I've seen a lot many people confuse the limit orders with the with the idea that maybe market is going to have a certain bounce around that point, or maybe it's going to have a certain rejection around that point. But yeah, it goes once again without saying that most probably we are going to see a new all-time high around 92, 93 once again form, and it's going to happen very soon, possibly even before the US market opens, right? But one way, uh, just like I mentioned, one way that you can take a look at it is by using the order book, or maybe using the order flow, or maybe using the fib retracement and fib extension tools and all that. But the problem with using fib retracement, fib extension tools around here is that, even if you would find a working fractal, and this is the same thing that we did in that YouTube video as well. We found a working fractal that was present on the chart back in 2021, and that fractal very precisely predicted the last all-time high around 69,000, very precisely predicted the next bottom around 15,000, 14,000, and then predicted this 73,000 major retracement also. But the problem with using that fractal is that since it's present on the daily or the weekly time frame charts, it's going to take some time for price to get to that point. And before we do that, it would be good to find these, to make sure that how exactly these smaller moves are taking place. And this can also be very precisely predicted, but you would have to find a working fractal, and that's not an easy job. This is not something which is I would say quite easy. Even if I were to find a working fractal, at times it would become extremely difficult, right? One is, you can find somewhere around here. Even if you would use this working fractal, you would draw fib retracement levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. You can see that the price bounce happened somewhere around 65 to 70.5 fib level. You would reverse these levels. You would notice that the next reaction should have happened somewhere around 127% level. That's where the next retracement happened, 75,000 down to 74,500, right? A small retracement. The next major retracement should have happened around here, or maybe around here, and maybe around here, which means that, at both of these instances, that major retracement did not happen, which means that it's not a very accurate fractal, right? And you would have to spend some time, trying to find one. And once again, the major problem in this situation is that since market is not giving any kind of pullback, you can see that there was this small pullback around here, then there was this very small pullback around here, and then the major retracement is happening somewhere around here. Since we have not really seen any major retracement take place, so no matter what kind of fractal you would try to look at, it's obviously not going to be working 100% of the times, until and unless you are looking at a weekly fractal or a daily fractal, which means that once again, our options are very limited in this situation, and we would have to look at all of this situation, all of these things from a slightly different perspective. And USDT dominance chart, in my opinion, provides you a very good perspective on this. Okay, I would try my best to if you would try to decipher this move from 67,000 all the way up to 89,000, you would realize that there was hardly any retracement taking place, right? A lot many people were actually complaining that they were not able to have a major retracement happen. They were not able to catch a major retracement on the chart, and that's why they were not able to enter into the market. Now, if you guys remember, or if you would just go back and watch some of my YouTube videos from the past 2 to 3 weeks, you would realize that I was constantly mentioning this thing, that as soon as we get to see a breakout above this bullish flag pattern, the channel, the descending channel, ascending channel, whatever you would like to call it, as soon as you would see price breaking above that channel, or breaking above this range, accumulation range 73,000 down to 52,000, you are not really going to have a very big opportunity. You are not really going to have a very big retracement on the chart. This was very obvious, right? And if the accumulation phase, if the accumulation part was being done in this range, it was very obvious that as soon as price would break above this range, it's not like, it would go back, like it would break above $73 resistance region, then it would consolidate, then it would come back to 73,000, give you a very nice chance to enter into long position, then it would go back up to 78,000, then it would once again go back down to 73,000, let more people load into their long positions, and then it would go up to 83,000, 88,000. Now, no, that's not really how it works. If you would try to decipher the move from 38,000 all the way up to 73,000, it was very much similar. So when the market makers, they have to move the market, so it's not like they would wait for all of you to enter into the positions. That's not how basically it works. Their job was to knock out, or this is a common misconception among people, that market maker is maybe some sort of evil entity that's basically trying to just knock out all of the market participants. This is just one way of saying it. Their job is only to have their orders being filled, right? The job is only to have their orders being filled at a certain point. And when you have to fill big orders worth millions of dollars, obviously there needs to be an enough amount of selling pressure coming from the opposite side, and this is exactly what we saw happening at the last low, which was around $52,000 region. I know multiple people, I know a bunch of people with big enough capital, who simply just closed their positions at the 52,000 support area, because they were simply just exhausted, despite having this much awareness about the market, despite having this much good anticipation about the market. They were simply just not able to hold on to their positions, because they thought that maybe market was going back down to 43k, and that's where the major selling around 52,000, 53,000 took place, and that's how the major buy orders were being filled at 52,000, 53,000. This is simply how it works. But once again, one way that you can look at the Bitcoin chart is simply just by having a possible explanation on the USDT dominance chart. And you can clearly see this thing, that USDT dominance created these two somewhat equal highs, then we created this double top pattern. Although remember this thing, that double tops and double bottom patterns, they cannot just be formed somewhere in the middle of a trend. If you have to consider a double top pattern, which is actually being formed on the Bitcoin chart, which looks a little bit scary, because whenever the tops are formed, whenever market creates some local tops, it always usually, no matter what time frame you are looking at, it could simply just be on the 1 hour time frame, it could simply just be on the 4 hour, 3 hour, or maybe on the higher time frame charts, you would always notice that there is some kind of double top pattern being formed. Some people like to refer this as random drawings, but there is a complete logic behind it. But remember this thing, that double tops and double bottoms, they are not valid if they're formed somewhere in the middle of a trend. So a double top is only valid since it's a bearish reversal pattern, which means that after the formation of this pattern, you will be expecting the price to move back down. And since the double bottom pattern, it's a bullish reversal pattern, so after the formation of double bottom pattern, you will be expecting the price to move back up. They cannot be formed somewhere in the middle of a trend, right? So this needs to be formed at some higher time frame resistance area, and we cannot really say this thing because there is literally no resistance around 89,000. There is no historical data present around that point, right? Similar is the case with double bottoms as well. It needs to be formed at some higher time frame support area, right? So you may say that this is actually a double top, and it actually looks like a double top, but the reality is that it was simply just formed somewhere in the middle of a trend, right? This one you can definitely consider because there was a small uptrend going on, but this one also was simply just formed somewhere in the middle of a trend. But we have seen that some weak double tops being formed in a downtrend as well, especially in the USDT dominance chart. You can notice this thing. We had this first double top being formed around here, price had a break below, came back up, retested the neckline, and then came back down, right? Once again, two double tops being formed, price broke below the neckline, then came back up, retested this neckline, and then simply just went down. Once again, two double tops being formed, price broke below the neckline, and we had a break below that support area, and then we started simply just going down. Now the point here is that, once again, let me repeat this thing. A lot many people, they were complaining that from 67,000 to all the way up to 89,000, we did not really get any opportunity to enter into a long position, right? Because there was hardly any retracement taking place. But I have all the time, almost always mentioned this thing, that you don't really have to only look at the Bitcoin chart. You have the USDT dominance chart, which is inversely or negatively correlated with the Bitcoin chart. You have BTC USDT.3S chart, which is once again negatively or inversely correlated, and you have BTC USDT.3L chart also, which is positively correlated, right? So you can look at any of these three charts, and you can just do any form of analysis, and it's going to be absolutely reflected back on the Bitcoin chart. And mind you, remember this thing, all of these charts, they are in perfect sync with each other, which means that if a double bottom is being formed at some higher time frame support area on the BTC USDT.3S chart, and this would simply just mean that BTC USDT.3S is about to go up, then Bitcoin has every possible chance that it would go down if there is no such thing present around on the Bitcoin chart, if there is no resistance on the Bitcoin chart, if there is no such thing. Okay, because once again, all of these charts, they're in perfect sync with each other. And the good thing about the USDT dominance chart is that we are not trading at any all-time highs, we are not really trading at any all-time lows, which means that we do have the option where we can look at the chart and where we can draw the next support and resistance levels, right? So we had the first support around here, price had a very small bounce happening off this area, then we had a break below that support, we consolidated a little bit, and you can see that we actually gave the first retest around this point. Okay, this was a successful retest, and then we went simply just back down. Okay, so in this situation, this first retest was when price was trading somewhere around $76,000 region, if I'm not wrong. You can just open both of these charts side by side and match the price. Okay, what was the price at this point? But it was possibly trading around 76,000, and that was a good possible opportunity to enter into a long position. I completely agree that in terms of risk to reward ratio, this is the only limitation. Honestly speaking, this has been the only limitation. That's why even personally speaking, I have been a little bit reluctant to enter into any kind of long positions, because even if you would do so, because the last low was somewhere around $67,000 region, or maybe around 71,000, 72,000, you are not really going to have a very good risk to reward ratio. You would be sometimes you have to compromise on the risk to reward ratio part as well. I completely agree with this thing, but in this situation, doing so was an extremely difficult bet, I would say. So in this situation, this first retest, you can clearly see that this was your first clue to enter into a long position, right? Once again, price breaks below that support area, and mind you, this was not the first retest of these supports, and I'm always telling you this thing, that the first retest of any support and resistance is your best possible opportunity to enter into a longer short positions. And in this situation, this retest was the first retest of this resistance area, because this was the first time price went back up and retested this as the resistance area after breaking below. And once again, we went back down, we had a break below that support area, consolidated a little bit, and then went back down and once again retested this as a resistance. There was no big consolidation taking place. Yes, so Bitcoin just created a new all-time high around 90,280. So the US market just opened. I believe that the reaction so far has been extremely positive. I missed out on a few long positions, to be very honest, because I was just waiting for the CPI numbers to be released, and it's only 2 minutes. The true reaction we are going to notice in the next 1 or 2 hours, right? So if you are in the ETH5 position, if you are in A8 position, please make sure to just move your stop losses to break even. This one is just simply breaking out. It's a good thing. So ETH5, this one went up almost like 6%. Last night, but I did not move stop loss to break even, or I did not do anything with this. I was simply just waiting for all the entries to get filled. This one seems to be going good so far. All right, we have already closed this one break even. So Bitcoin just created a new all-time high. Okay, so I was talking about the USDT dominance chart. So this was once again another opportunity to enter into a long position, because this was a bearish retest. Price simply just went back down. Then in this situation also, we had a break below that support area. We consolidated a little bit. This was although a little bit surprising for me, and this would simply just remain a bit surprising for me, because I still believe that the way we are heading into this resistance area, unlike the previous situations, because in this case we had a retest of the resistance, we simply just went back down. We had a retest of this resistance, we simply just went back down. But in this situation, we had 1, 2, 3. Even if you would look at the 1 hourly time frame chart, you would notice that there have already been multiple retests of this resistance area, right? Which means that the more and more price is hitting into a level, the weaker that support and resistance actually gets. So there is a possibility, still there is a possibility, until and unless we break below this low, there is still a possibility that we can go back up and maybe have a rejection around this area. Okay, but the news of the day is that Bitcoin just created a new all-time high around 92,000, I believe 91,800 or maybe 92,000. I'm not looking at the chart directly. So this was once again another possible good opportunity to enter into a long position, and we can see that the consolidation took place and then price came back up and retested this region, right? So what I'm trying to say is that uh, even if you're confused looking at the Bitcoin chart, USDT dominance chart, it's providing you almost picture perfect moves, right? We are, no doubt, we are breaking below the support regions. We are failing to react at any kind of support, and it's not like all of this are the first retests of the support, right? We are still sitting on this support, by the way. There is this weak support present around here. We are still sitting on it. We have just reacted on this first support, and we shall see how price bounces off this region. We are in a kind of a sandwich situation, I'm always saying, right? So there is a resistance present around here, there is a support present around here, so we are simply just stuck in between these 2 points, and we shall see what exactly happens next. But once again, so far we are seeing a rejection happen. One way that you can look at it is just by drawing the fib levels. This is your last major swing low. It's not a very good major swing low. This one possibly could be a good choice, this one. And if you would draw the fib retracement levels from this swing high to this swing low, you would notice that there is every possible chance. And remember this thing, whenever the market is extremely strong, the retracements would only happen back to 38.2% level, right? Remember this thing. I mentioned this thing during my last live stream also. Just go and watch that one. I mentioned that whenever the market is extremely strong, usually you cannot just wait to bid in a discounted zone, right? Or in a premium zone in the case of a short position, right? Usually you would always, if you have to enter into a long position, you would always be wanting to enter somewhere below the 50% level, right? In a discounted zone, maybe around 0.618, maybe around 0.705. That's a discounted zone, anything below 50% level. And in the case of a short position, obviously you would try your best to enter into a premium zone. But what I'm trying to say here is that that's not always the case. In the situations where the market is extremely impulsive, where the market is extremely strong in one direction, right? So if the market is extremely strong, you would get very shallow pullbacks, meaning when the market is extremely strong, your best possible bet is 38.2, not 23.2 but 38.2. That's the safest possible bet, right? Or if the market is not too strong, if it's a little bit weak, then in those situations you're going to have deep pullbacks, and in that situation you would simply just bid the 61.8 or 70.5, whatever the point of interest is in your situation, right? So in this situation we can clearly see that if you would draw fib retracement from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, once again price retracement happened back to 38.2% level. So if you would look at the fib retracements, there is every possibility that once again we are going to create a next all-time high around 93,000, 94,000, and we are about to break below this low and below this support area as well. But the way the things are looking, I'm just repeating this thing over and over again. I'm just a little bit skeptical about this move, although I still believe that there is every possible chance that we can go back up to like 93,000, 94,000, right? There is every possible chance for this. But the way price is hitting into this resistance area over and over again, it's never really a good thing, right? We have talked about this so many times. We have talked about this in terms of the total 2 chart as well, that if price is hitting into a level over and over again, and the retracement especially getting smaller and smaller, then there is every possibility that price is about to break below or about to break above that level. So in this situation, it's still too early to say anything. It's been only like first 24 hours since price started hitting into this resistance area. This was the first, second, third, fourth rejection. We have already seen multiple rejections happen. But if you would look at the hourly time frame chart, it looks like that if price goes back up to this point once again, I'm telling you that there is going to be every single possibility that it's about to break below, or we could simply just go back up to this area. Okay, and let me show you something really important as well. This region that the price just bounced off from, this point of interest or this region of interest or this zone of interest is of extreme importance, right? The reason why I'm saying this is, almost like 48 hours ago, a student of mine, his name is Billy, he just shared a chart with me. He basically pointed out in the chart that, hey Sherlock, you need to take a look at USDT dominance chart on the weekly time frame, and you need to apply the yearly VWAP, right? By the way, if you would like to have access to the yearly VWAP, like MP VWAP indicator, MT of 200 EMA indicator, I've shared the scripts for free in my channel also. Or if you are not a paying member, you are a free member, you can simply just open up a support ticket and we would share the script with you guys, and it's completely free and it's a very useful indicator, by the way. So if I would go to the weekly time frame chart, and I was surprised to notice this thing. I had not noticed that thing prior to him mentioning that thing to me, and I was actually surprised, and this was a really good find, right? Let me just turn off the rest of these drawings and everything. Okay, so this is the weekly time frame chart for USDT dominance, and once again, this chart, it's perfectly negatively or inversely correlated with the Bitcoin chart. So what Wheelie pointed out was that if you would apply MPV-WAP indicator, you would notice that on the weekly time frame chart, price is precisely bouncing off this weekly yearly VWAP. On the weekly time frame chart, price is bouncing off the yearly VWAP. And the reason why this region becomes extremely important is, first, because we are looking at a very higher time frame chart. We are not looking at 4-hour or daily. We are looking at the higher time frame, weekly time frame chart, which means that the higher time frame, once again, you go, the more accurate these things would become. And remember this thing, it's still too early to say that price is bouncing off this yearly VWAP, because notice that we have 4 days and 10 hours for this weekly candle to close, which means that the next moment you may see price candle going back, going down, maybe down to this point as well, which means that until and unless a full weekly candle bounces off this region, if full weekly candle closes above that spot, completely bouncing off that spot, it would be still too early to say anything. Okay, this is first thing. But secondly, we are looking at a very higher time frame chart. The higher time frame you would go, more accurate these things usually become. And we are not even looking at daily time frame or 3-day. We are looking at a weekly time frame chart, and we have a very important indicator already applied on the chart, which is yearly VWAP. And to add more to it, we are looking at the weekly time frame chart, and this point or this zone that you are seeing right in front of you, as I believe that is the last stronghold for bears. The reason why I say this is because if you would hover your mouse over this low right here, it was formed back on 13th of March 2024, and that was when Bitcoin created its previous all-time high around $73,800 region. So the previous all-time high, in the situation of previous all-time high also, we bounced off the very same spot, and in this situation also we are bouncing off the very same spot, right? So remember this thing, this 90, 91,000, 92,000, it's not only a psychological resistance. It may not really be something extremely important in terms of sell wall if there is any present around there, but it becomes extremely important in terms of the USDT dominance chart also, because not only this is a higher time frame support area, this is the higher time frame horizontal support area. Sorry for the cluttered chart, I cannot remove all of these drawings, because this is with the Bitcoin or any other charts, you have multiple choices. Like you can select the Bitcoin chart from Binance exchange or like any other exchange, and then you can simply just have more drawings being added, or you can have a clear chart. But in the case of USDT dominance, you just get one choice, right? You just have one choice, which means that you cannot just remove anything that you have drawn on the chart. Okay, so anyways, this is a higher time frame, weekly time frame horizontal support area. This is first thing. Secondly, we are looking at the weekly time frame chart, and price is sitting absolutely on this yearly VWAP, and this is the same spot that almost like 6 to 7 months ago gave Bitcoin its all-time high around 73,800, which means that this region, it is of extreme importance. So this is like a stronghold. This is like the last stronghold of bears, and I believe that the moment we have a major break below on the weekly time frame chart, it's going to be a very impulsive break, and there is every possibility that we may go back up to maybe like 120,000, 130,000, even like 150,000 as well. Okay, because the moment price breaks below, the moment this stronghold of bulls on the USDT dominance chart, we lose this, it's going to be a very impulsive break below. and we are looking, but so far price is staying close to this point, and it's still bouncing off the yearly VWAP thing. Okay, now let's go. A lot many people have been asking this question, that why exactly the altcoins they are being dragged like this, or why exactly the altcoins they're bleeding a lot in this whole situation. Once again, I have been warning this. I did warn about this in my channel also, that if you would go to the daily time frame chart for total 2, by the way, total 2, it's basically the the market cap of altcoins excluding Bitcoin, right? Market cap, the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. That's how you can basically talk about it. Now remember this thing, almost like a week or two ago, when we were doing all these live streams, I was mentioning that in total 2 it was trading under this trend line. I was saying that the breakout, it's going to be a very impulsive breakout. But the way price is hitting into this resistance area over and over again, the same thing that I'm just talking about USDT dominance also, that the way on the 4-hour time frame chart, it's hitting into this resistance area. I believe that there could be a move downside happening on the Bitcoin if it breaks above the resistance area, if USDT dominance breaks above the resistance area, because the same logic applies to every single chart. If you would go and watch those live streams, you would hear me talking about it, that the way price is heading into this resistance area, the first rejection was a big one, the second rejection was a small one, the third rejection was an even smaller one compared to the last two, which means that price is heading into this resistance area over and over again, and sellers, they are losing interest in this level. Okay, this is just a theoretical way of looking at the chart. This is just the chart for an index, which means that you cannot really trade the total 2 chart. It's just a theoretical representation, right? So the way the price is heading into this resistance area over and over again, it was a clear indication that we are about to break above this resistance area, because maybe the first time price hit into a resistance area, there were 100 sellers present around. The next time price went back up to this area, there were only 50 sellers. The third time price came back up to this region, there were only 25 sellers. So it's very obvious that if price is hitting into a level over and over again, and the second part of the statement is extremely important, that the retracements are getting smaller and smaller, then there are chances that price is about to break above that level. In this situation, we had this trend line also. I was just a little bit surprised that we did not get any kind of retest. But remember this thing that I mentioned this almost 2 days ago in my channel also, that so we had this crazy move towards upside, and the only thing that's staying in between us and the next bull run or the next big altcoin rally is this resistance area on the total 2 chart, because we have seen that almost like 7 to 8 months ago, when Bitcoin created its new all-time high, total 2 chart also hit into this resistance area. And so far the situation is kind of very similar. We hit into this resistance area. One, there was big rejection, the second rejection, the third rejection was a smaller one, and the way that we are hitting into this resistance area over and over again, you would notice that it would start getting weaker. But the resistance is a resistance as long as price is staying under it, and the support is a support as long as price is staying above it, which means that you would have to give it respect, you would have to treat it in a very same manner, and you would have to treat it as a resistance area, which means that if price happens to get a strong rejection of this point and goes back down to this support area, then you need to sell your house, you need to sell your kidney, you need to sell everything, and you need to go all into altcoins, because this is going to be the first retest of this support area. And remember this thing once again, the first retest, it's always a single best opportunity to enter into longer short position. I can show you multiple examples of this. This was a level, this was a level, price came back up, came back down, retested this perfectly and went back up. The second retest, the third retest, anyhow we had like multiple retests, and all of these retests, they were successful ones. Price came back down, consolidated a little bit, then came back up, gave the first retest, it was a successful one, and quickly went back down, came back up, gave the first retest, successful one, came back down, gave the first retest, successful one, second retest, successful one. So there are countless examples of first retest. It's not like it's going to be true for only total 2 chart. You open up any chart, this is the first primary rule, this is the first fundamental rule that I teach to my students, that the first retest, it's always a single best opportunity to enter into longer short position, which means that the first retest, I have already set the alerts around here, around like $950 billion region. I don't know if the first retest is going to happen in this situation or not, or what exactly would be the point that when this first retest happens, But whenever this first retest happens, remember this thing once again, this is going to be the best possible opportunity for you to enter into long positions for all of these altcoins. But so far we are hitting into this resistance area. You just have to pray that the first retest does not happen, because this is a huge move, right? We would have to retrace all of this move that we have seen so far, and only then the first retest would happen. And I'm telling you that the altcoins, they're going to bleed a lot. Most of these altcoins, even the real altcoin rally has not even started as of yet, and most of these altcoins, they're going crazy, 40%, 50% up, which means that we're talking about the very same thing. If we go back down to this point, it's going to be the very similar kind of situation for all of these altcoins. They're going to go down almost like 40%, 50%. And the question that all of you have been asking, that why exactly all of these altcoins are going down, even if Bitcoin goes down like $500, $1,000, all these altcoins, they would go down like 20%, 30%. We have seen this happening with big time, most of these altcoins. Once again, the main culprit is Bitcoin dominance, and the main culprit is Total 2, because all of these charts, once again, they are in perfect sync with each other. If Total 2 would start having strong rejection of this area, this would mean that the capital is having some sort of outflow from altcoins. And if capital is having outflow from the altcoin, then obviously it's going into Bitcoin, which means that Bitcoin dominance, it would automatically start going up. So once again, it's the same sort of thing. You can take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, you can do any kind of analysis, and you can decide the fate for altcoins. You can look at the Total 2 chart, you can do any form of analysis, and it's going to automatically be reflected back on all of these altcoins. You can take a look at the Total 3 chart, which is basically the market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it's going to be automatically be reflected back on the rest of these altcoins, right? So it is essentially the same thing. So the point here is that, once again, the reason why these altcoins, they're suffering at this point is because as soon as price on the Bitcoin chart goes down, I have said this thing, by the way, multiple times, that that's how basically the market cycles work. Price for Bitcoin, it would go down, and the Bitcoin dominance, it would start going up, because the Total 2 chart, it's at a strong resistance area, and this one is also going down, which means that the altcoins, they're going to suffer a double blow. The one blow, because Bitcoin is going down and the overall market conditions, they may not really look healthy. This is the first blow. And the second blow is that they're suffering because the Bitcoin dominance is going down. Sorry, the Bitcoin dominance, it is going up, because Total 2 chart, it is going down, right? Total 2 price in the Total 2 chart, it's going down, and which basically means that capital outflow from altcoin is happening and capital inflow into Bitcoin is happening, right? And that's why the altcoins, they were down almost like 10%, 20%, just during the last 24 to 48 hours, even when Bitcoin went only like $1,000, $2,000 down. And once again, all of these charts, they're in perfect sync with each other. Even a single tick movement you would see happening on most of these altcoins is going to be perfectly synced with the Total 2 and Total 3 chart. So once again, I must repeat this thing, that there is a very thin line between us and the next altcoin rally. And in my opinion, it has not even started as of yet. Most people are imagining that this is this was the altcoin rally. This is not even the beginning of it, because first of all, the Total 2 chart, it's still sitting at a very strong resistance area. This is first thing. And secondly, most of these altcoins that you are looking at, it's simple, just maths, right? Most people don't understand this thing. If something goes down from $100 all the way down to $10, then it simply just lost 90% of its value. You would say that if a coin during the previous bull run, it was at $100 and now it is trading at $10, it simply just means that it lost 90% of its value. And if it goes up from $10 to $20, then you would say that it made a 2x, right? It gave a 2x move. Okay, so that's how most people get confused about the percentages. They would see a coin going up like 50%, 60%, 70% up, and they would say that it has already given us a 2x, 3x, 4x move. But the point to notice here is that go to the monthly time frame charts, go to the weekly time frame charts. Most of these coins, I'm not talking about all of them, a few of them like Dodge, and a few others, they are completely outperforming the rest of the market. But the point here is that most of these coins, strong ones, strong projects in the previous cycles, they are already down almost 70%, 80% from their all-time highs, which means that this could simply just be the beginning of the cycle, and we have so many things to happen during this cycle. And this is going to be most people are saying that this is going to be the most easy part of the cycle. I would repeat that this is going to be the most difficult part of the cycle, because you would buy anything and it would go up 50%, 60% up just in a matter of like 1 or 2 days, but you would never really know where to exit the market, right? Because timing the exit point is going to be the most difficult part. I know a lot many people, I have a lot many people in my DMs. I have personal friends who made like, millions during the last bull run, and they lost millions just in a matter of next few months when the bear market came in, because they had no idea, they had no exit plan, they had no idea where exactly to exit the market. Bitcoin created the all-time high at 69,000. People at that point were saying the similar kind of things, like we are going to 500,000, we are going to 150k. The institutional capital flow is happening into the altcoin. MicroStrategy was there, the similar kind of news events were happening, everything positive was happening during the last bull run also. But what eventually happened was, we came all the way down to 15,000, because nobody would have thought, or nobody would have predicted this thing, or nobody was actually trying to plan the exit strategy as well in that situation. So I've tried my best to give you a complete picture on everything, and let me just quickly go through my alerts also, because I had a few alerts on most of these altcoins, and unfortunately most of them did not, I was not really able to enter into most of these positions. But let's see what exactly is happening. So already we have already closed this trade, already break even A8. Make sure that this one is up almost like 7 to 8%. So if you are into this position, make sure to take TP1 and make sure to move your stop loss to break even. Peter is saying, okay, I was told that some women would be joining the live stream. I guess there are a few women already in the live stream, so you just have to ask, please raise your hand. All the women, please raise your hand, because Peter really wants to know. If you are thinking that somebody is going to join from my end and I'm going to show you anything, that sorry to disappoint you, Peter. Nothing of that sort is happening. Okay, so if you are in the AA trade, you know if you are in the AA trade, make sure to move your stop loss to break even. Yeah, see, just women just raise their hand. So Peter, just go ahead and do anything that you want. A8, make sure to move your stop loss to break even. Make sure to take TP near. That was a bit of that was a bit of an unfortunate trade, to be very honest, because almost like 24 hours ago, when the whole market was going down, NEO was still the strongest possible coin. It went up almost like 6%, 7% up. We moved stop loss to break even, and then we got stop break even. Almost most of the trades that we have taken during the last like 24 to 48 hours, all of them were stop break even after giving like 7%, 8% move, right? Which was a kind of a disappointing thing, to be honest. ETH5, I'm still in this trade. I'm still hopeful. I was about to close this position. Last night it gave a 7% move. I did not do anything. I did not move stop loss to break even. I did not do absolutely anything, right? But the reason why I have so far not closed this position is because on the daily time frame chart, price is still bouncing off this support, and daily time frame chart once again looks like that we are in for a good move, right? If this is I've still set the alerts around here. I still believe that if we are very lucky, maybe we can get another retest of this point. Order, this is another alert I have already set. You can see that this is going to be my entry point. So I'm just going through all of my alerts, trying to give you a perspective on what are all of these positions that I'm looking at. Almost 60 to 70% I already missed, and I'm completely gutted on that. And let me tell you a secret as well. Just go through all of these charts for altcoins. That gave a major run during the first 2 quarters of 2024. All you have to do is, somebody pointed this out on Twitter, that during the bull market you would have to lower down your IQ. So you would have to be someone like me who has an IQ of less than 100, right? So all of you having an IQ of more than like 160, 170, for example, Peter, you just have to lower down your IQ a little bit if you have to make money in this cycle. Because you would not really need 10 different things on your chart to make money. Only a simple trend line, only a simple support and resistance, that's also going to work. Or until and unless you are seeing a major retracement or something of that sort happening on the chart, right? Maybe you would need 2-3 more confluences. But if everything is going up, then it's going to be simple signs. You just have to draw a trend line, and you would simply just have to draw support and resistance, and you just have to bid the retest, or whatever your strategy is, right? I was pointing out that if you would look at all of these charts, from quarter 1 to quarter 2 2024, or during the last bull cycle as well, 2021, you would notice that almost 90 to 99.9% of them were having a very similar kind of trend line breakout. And this is a kind of a secret ingredient also, right? So, every bull run, you would see almost 99.9% of altcoins giving you a very similar pattern, a trend line breakout, as simple as that. At some point, you wouldn't even have to draw support and resistance. You would simply just have to draw a trend line and wait for price to break above that trend line. It's going to be as simple as that. So make sure that, this is kind of a hack for all of you. Make sure that, and if you are confused on this, just go through all of these charts. I can show you multiple examples. Like, the chart for OD, you can see that it had this trend line breakout. The chart for A8, it had this massive trend line breakout. The chart for NEAR, it had this trend line breakout. The chart for ETHY, it had this trend line breakout. The chart for AVE, I guess, this one had trend line breakout. So I can show you countless examples of this. I can go through all of these charts one by one, showing you that almost every single chart was giving you a similar kind of a move, right? So BMEX, this is another chart that I'm looking at. I've already set the alerts around here. Did not get a trigger on this. Let's just set an alert around here. XCC, let's set the alert around here. I'm looking to enter into this one as well. Dodge is extremely strong, especially after, Trump just almost like 24 hours ago, he announced that Elon Musk is going to lead the Department of Government, and that's how Dodge has already given almost a 2x move, right? During the past 1 month or so. It's lagging a little bit. It's sitting at the strong resistance area, which is, by the way, the all-time high on Bybit chart as well, but it's not the all-time high on the Binance chart, obviously. But it's still sitting at the strong resistance area, and it has been the outperformer. It is going to outperform the rest of the market maybe for the next few weeks as well, as soon as we get more of these news thing happening about Trump administration and the rule, what exactly is going to be the rule for Elon Musk. So obviously there is going to be some better moves on this as well in the future, but so far it has not given any sort of pullback. Your best possible bet to enter into long position on Dodge was possibly this support area, right? So the first bounce or second bounce, we've already seen so many bounces happen off the support, so this was your best bet to enter into the position. GME, this is a little bit of a disappointment. The most disappointed I am in is on this chart, because I was looking at it since the last 1 week or so. I completely planned it, and I knew that the point, at some point it would go back down to this high time frame support. It's going to give a huge move, right? It's almost a 29% move, but at the end of the day we just completely missed it, right? So that was a little bit of a disappointing thing. Hamster, this one I have already set the alerts around here. I'm just waiting for this point, and I'm going to bid this one. BSV pole, this one also got filled. This was the first retest. You can clearly see that price was consolidating above the support area, came back down, came back up, gave the first retest, was a successful one. So it was a very good position. For this one I have set the alert, has not been filled, so I can show you the countless examples. ZEC also is another chart. So over to you guys. Injective is probably the second chart that I'm most disappointed in. Injective and the second one was GME. Yeah, so both of these charts I absolutely missed on both of these positions, because I don't know, I just completely slept on this. I was sleeping, and I thought maybe I would drop the positions later tomorrow, and when I just woke up, both of these positions, they were already filled, and I was not able to update in my channel. But in any case, we are going to see more of these moves happen in the future as well, so no need to just be disappointed on any of the missed moves. So over to you guys. If you have any questions, please make sure to drop it in the chat box, and if you have any chart request, please make sure to drop it in the chat box. Do you want to take a look at Tau? Yeah, sure, let me take a look at Tau. Some say we have supply crunch game theory, and past all-time high there are no resistance zones, so we could go up. I don't know how exactly game theory is into play in this current situation. You could have said that game theory was into play when price was trading somewhere around 52,000, 53,000, but at this point I don't know how exactly it would make sense. Is it possible we are not getting deep pullbacks for now? It is quite possible. This is how basically the markets actually work. during strong phases. How many major pullbacks you saw happening when market was going down during the bear market? It's kind of very obvious. We did not see any kind of huge pullbacks happen. So similar was the case during the last bull run as well. From 29,000 in July 2021, or maybe June 2021, to November 2021, just in a matter of 6 months, we saw a price going from 29,000, 28,000, all the way up to 69,000. How many pullbacks were, how many pullbacks did happen during all that phase? Hardly there were any pullbacks. So it's just pointless to say that there are going to be more pullbacks, or the situation this time it's entirely different. No, it's not different, right? It's just the same kind of situation. Thanks for the stream. Could I ask your thoughts on ETH? Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at ETH. ETH, by the way, was sitting on this higher time frame support. I guess it's still, yeah, so it's still somewhere around this support area. The reason why I have marked this as resistance so far is because we have not fully reclaimed this level, which means that we, I'm still not sure. And if price goes back down a little bit, it's simply just going to create a head and shoulder chart pattern, and the point that it's forming in an uptrend at a resistance area would add more value to it. I have said this previously as well, that the best possible bet on ETH, if ETH goes back down to 2900, sell your house, sell everything, and go all into ETH. Okay, once again, because the first retest of this support has not happened as of yet, and the moment the first retest happens, it's going to be a single best opportunity to enter into the ETH trade, right? So we already have, by the way, position on ETH. 2960 is our first entry point. We have not got a fill so far, but yeah, 2960. This is our entry on ETH. So by the time the first retest happens, sorry, by the time the first retest happens, this is going to be the best opportunity. We already know the importance of $2,800 level. A lot many people were complaining during the past 5 to 6 months, saying that ETH is not performing good. It was kind of very obvious, because we were trading under this very strong level. We had this massive trendline breakout, and this is just true for every single altcoin. Just like I mentioned previously also, open up the charts for all of these altcoins, go through them, and you're going to see a very similar kind of trendline breakout, right? So in this situation also, ETH was not performing good because it was trading under this very major resistance area. So if anybody was trying to take long positions on ETH, or if anybody was trying to imagine that ETH would go up as soon as they would buy, it was trading under this resistance area. So there was no point going all in on ETH. But if it goes back down to this point at some point, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. I don't know if that would happen anytime soon or not. The last time as well, we had a breakout above, and then we came back down almost like 2 to 3 months later, right? So in this situation also, I'm not sure if we would get any deep pullback on ETH, but if it happens, 2960, make sure to utilize this trade. It has already been dropped in my channel. You really have to do that, because this is a very strong level on ETH. I was saying that it would take an equal amount of effort for bulls to break above this resistance area, as it took an equal amount of effort for bears to break below that support area. You can see that this was, it would be good to take a look at it on the daily time frame charts. On the daily time frame chart, you would realize the importance of it. Okay, people are saying that ETH is still lagging. Bitcoin has already passed almost like $25,000 from its all-time high that it's created back in March 14th of March, and ETH, it's still almost like 20%, 30% down from its all-time high. ETH is always lagging, but ETH is lagging in every single cycle. But it's also true that ETH is always outperforming Bitcoin and the rest of the market later on. So ETH would create its all-time high. ETH would go back up to 5,000, 6,000. It's only a matter of time. It's going to move in its own way, right? So let Bitcoin do whatever it's doing. I've said this thing previously also, that altcoins are going to have their own thing. It's only a matter of time. Bitcoin needs to create an all-time high. It has created that. Bitcoin needs to be stable around those prices. It has already done that. A total 2 chart, it should have broken above the resistance area in the trend line. That has already happened. And finally Bitcoin dominance, it needs to go down. That did go down during the past 1 week or so, but that's once again the only missing part of the puzzle. that Bitcoin dominance is still strong at this point. The main interest is still into Bitcoin at this point, and Bitcoin dominance is not gonna go down until and unless once again total 2 chart breaks above this resistance area. So everything, I must repeat, is completely dependent upon how exactly total 2 chart reacts around this resistance area. Like I've mentioned previously also, there is a very thin line, there is a very fine line between us and the next altcoin rally or the next big bull run. And by bull run, I mean to say a run in which altcoins would go crazy. Obviously, Bitcoin is already going crazy, but by a complete bull run, I mean to say a kind of situation where these altcoins, they would go crazy. And if Bitcoin keeps going up, Bitcoin dominance, it would simply just go up, and altcoins, they are not really going to outperform the rest of the market, because it's very obvious that Bitcoin, it's going to be the center of attraction for everyone, right? Okay, TNSR. Let me now just take some of the chart requests as well. Hey Denver, hope you're doing good, man. TNSR. I guess I had a position on TNSR, but I absolutely hate this coin. If you guys remember, we had a short position on this almost like 4 or 5 months ago, and that was an absolutely horrible short position. So that's why I hate this coin a lot. I had a long position on it. Let me see how it went. I did not share it, by the way, in my channel. Yeah, so I did not share it in my channel, I guess. Okay, I think I should update the trade for A8 in my channel because it's already going down, and I should update people about it. So about the okay, just give me a minute. Can I turn $100 to 1 million in this bull run? I would say that's not realistically possible until and unless you are extremely lucky, you are the luckiest person on the entire planet Earth. You cannot really do that, statistically speaking, right? Until and unless you are the most lucky person. Once again, if you would go and watch maybe one live stream of mine that I did almost like 2 weeks ago, I mentioned about this incident that happened in a casino in which people lost 26 times in a row on a fair game, and the chances of that happening were only like 1 in like 10 trillion or 15 trillion. I don't exactly remember the number, but they were probably, this was back in 1926, and this was a big casino. The game was absolutely free and fair, but they lost it. They lost the game 26 times in a row, and the possibility of this happening was extremely low. So you can imagine that if you are the most lucky person on the entire planet Earth, then maybe you would be able to convert it to 1 million, $100 to 1 million. But that's not realistically possible. Yeah, absolutely. What a month. What a time to be alive, in fact. How many of you were present during the previous cycle? Tau. Let's first of all take a look at Tau. Okay, so this is my, this is my perspective on Tau. Although it has been lagging a little bit, it's kind of very obvious because, almost like a month or two ago, when all of these altcoins, they were lagging, Tau had this crazy run from 350 all the way up to 500, 600, which means 700 even, right? No, the all-time high was around 678. So it was kind of very obvious that it's going to lag as soon as the rest of the altcoins are going to catch up, right? That's how basically the capital rotation happens. So in this situation, if you get an opportunity to buy Tau around this point, I'm, you know me, I'm never really chasing anything at the market price, right? I'm always waiting patiently for price to hit into the correct price, right? To hit my point of interest, come back to me instead of going after the price. Okay, so that's how basically my approach towards trading is. I know a lot many people are always complaining that the retests are not happening, the retracements are not happening, but you have like 350 plus players listed only over Binance. You have Bybit, almost like once again 300 400 pairs listed over Bybit, which means that you have so many different choices, right? So it's not like you have to just focus on one, two, three coins that are not giving the retest. You're going to have like too many different choices. So I just showed you multiple examples almost like 5 minutes ago as well, that all of these altcoins, they're perfectly giving the retest. Okay, so anybody who requested tau, I would say that a good point of interest could be somewhere around here, although you would notice that price is actually bouncing off this fib level, right? So best possible opportunity was maybe to long around 536. It's already at 557. It went up to like 577 as well. But I would say that if I already had charted this, I was planning to enter somewhere around here. I did enter. It was having this trend line breakout, gave the first perfect retest, and then simply just went back up. But I'm warning you that tau, it's going to have its own move, probably like in the next few weeks. But so far it has been lagging a little bit, and the reason is kind of very obvious, because the rest of the market, it's being extremely bullish, and tau already had this huge move when the rest of the market, it was simply just down bad, real bad. Okay, so if you have to enter into a position, maybe you can just try this one. I would have to look at it. Honestly, the chart is not looking very good. By good, I would like to say it's looking a little bit noisy. Okay, it's looking a little bit noisy. So, I was saying that the chart is looking a little bit noisy at this point. Noisy because we have seen the first retest, second retest, third retest of these points. All these points already happened. And secondly, this could simply just be the start of an amazing move as well, because you can see that we have this inverse head and shoulder chart pattern also. There is a possibility that this is simply just the bottom for the move, and now you're going to see a next move towards upside. In any case, this point also provides a good opportunity to enter into a position. This last wick, almost few hours ago, was also another good opportunity, right? So if you're looking to enter into tau, I know that a lot many people are bullish about it. The project is strong, AI narrative is strong, so maybe around this point. But to me, the chart is not looking ideal until and unless maybe we fully reclaim this area. See, my strategy is entirely different. My approach towards trading, that's entirely different in comparison to most of these other people as well. So I would wait for price to reclaim a certain spot, maybe just go something like this, and based on that I would take a long position. And I'm always saying this to you guys that if you are entering into a position, if you are bullish on something, if you're bearish on something, if you really want to enter into a position, just ask yourself this one single question, that if it was one of the only 5 setups or 3 setups that you could take for your entire lifetime, would you still be wanting to take that setup, or would you still bet on that setup or not, if you could simply just take the 5 setups for the rest of your lifetime, right? So make sure that the position that you are about to enter, you are absolutely confident about it. It's just treat it as if this position is going to simply just make you life-changing money, not just life-changing money, but wife-changing money also, for some people who are just not happy with their relationships. So in this situation, this is not very ideal setup for me, especially considering that the breakout above the trend line has already happened, the retest has already happened, this was another opportunity, neckline retest has already happened. So we are too late in this situation. Okay, we're already too late in this situation, which means that this is not an ideal setup for me. And plus, the chart looks absolutely noisy. Price has been continuously trading in this whole range. So until and unless it fully reclaims some sort of level, I'm not very much willing to enter into this position, right? So this is my point of view about tau. Okay, since 2019, and I joined during FTX fall. I'm kind of sad. Yeah, even you would be surprised to know that someone as intelligent as Bliskin is also a victim of FTX, right? So you can imagine, he was not just a victim of FTX, I don't really want to use the word, but he was banged real bad by FTX, which means that he had all of his eggs in one basket, which turned out to be FTX at that point, right? So he is usually very cautious about his approach. So someone as outgoing and someone as informed about the market as Bliskin is was already in the very same kind of situation. So Peter, you are no exception, right? Okay, so any other chart requests that you guys may have? TNSR and core. Okay, let's take a look at core. I don't know if it's okay, so this one is only listed over Bybit. That's what I thought. Okay, so very similar pattern. Just like I mentioned before, any chart that you would like, just open it up and you're going to see a very similar kind of pattern. Okay, Zeta and Dash is next. But on the core chart, you would notice that we are trading under this resistance area, which is not a very good thing. Similar was the case with Audi as well. The reason why I closed Audi trade was because it was trading right under this resistance area. You can see that so far it saw this rejection happen as well, right? So similar is the case here also. It's trading under this resistance area, which means that I'm not going to touch it. I would simply just set an alert around here. I would wait for price to go back up, and as soon as the consolidation happens, I would wait for the retest, and that's where I'm going to bid it, right? So it's nothing too important for me right now. Although it gave this perfect retest at the trend line, this was very good opportunity to enter into a position. You could have placed your stop loss below this low, maybe set your TP something like this, and you can see that you could have easily caught the 28% move. Trendline breakout, perfect retest, went back up, very good opportunity, right? Getting compared with Bliskin, I will go to bed. Why would you not be, why would you not like to be compared with him? You guys are very much similar. You guys look similar to me. Okay, so in this situation, the reason why I would advise a cautious approach is because this is trading right under the resistance area. So these are my thoughts on core. Zeta. And about Dodge, Joe is asking about Dodge. Dodge is extremely strong, like I mentioned, but it's kind of stuck in between these 2 points. This is a strong resistance area. This is the all-time high on Bybit as well. Strong weekly resistance area as well. This is a support. Your best possible bet was to enter into a long position almost like few hours ago as well. This gave multiple retests at this point. This was a very good opportunity, right? Because price went back up, consolidated a little bit, then went back down, the retest. The reason why I'm always saying that all of these opportunities were good ones, and I still did not enter into most of these is because our choices are very limited. It's not like you can have 20 different trades running at one point. So if anything just goes back, if anything just goes wrong, then you are completely fucked up, right? So in this situation also, you really have to make a choice about what are the setups that you would like to go with. In this situation, we went with A8, we went with Audi, we went with ETH5, we went with a few others as well, and we missed a few others also. Like we missed this very good one, GME. I'm still absolutely gutted about it. Like this was the first retest, and this was a very good opportunity, right? I don't know how actually I missed it, but I was just sleeping around that time. Even before going to sleep, price was going down, and I thought, okay, I would simply just set an alert, and as soon as I would wake up, I would simply just buy around this point. And as soon as I woke up, it was already up like 28%, 29% up. XRP has been the runner during the last few days, but I'm never really focusing on XRP, to be very honest, because I'm actually done with the community and the narratives and everything. But no doubt it has outperformed the market during the past few days. But looking at the daily time frame chart, you had a very massive opportunity to enter into a position, and you would have that one again. Okay, since on the daily time frame chart, the retest seems not to happen perfectly, you would have a very good opportunity to bid XRP. This was, by the way, a very good opportunity on XRP. You can see that price simply just went back up, gave the perfect retest. So anybody complaining that the retests are not happening or we are not getting the perfect opportunities, you're getting so many opportunities. It's all about just opening up your eyes and looking at the trades, right? So please make sure that this is especially true for all of my students, right? Because they have been practicing my trading strategy, the retesting, right? So you are seeing the same sort of things happen in the market over and over again. Same trendline breakouts. I don't know if this one gave the trendline breakout or not. Let me see. Yeah, so there was this trendline breakout, a kind of a forced trendline breakout, I would say, because this one was also one, and then we had moved downside. But okay, so trendline breakout, and went back up this resistance and simply just went back down to this support, gave the perfect retest, and now it's just going back up. XRP breaking trendline on a weekly time frame as well. Yeah, I suppose on the weekly also, even on the daily, you can notice this thing. Maybe something like this, I'm not sure. But yeah, I would just draw it like this. This one looks good to me. So XRP, similar kind of setup. Since this retest happened without consolidation on daily, so I would set the alerts around here. The moment once again the retest happens on daily, that's once again going to be another good opportunity to enter into XRP. Okay, Dash. Let's take a look at Dash. Dash is having this trendline breakout, by the way. Dash is still having this trendline breakout. Okay, in fact, the trendline breakout on Dash has already happened. Even the retest has already happened, but it still seems to be trading under this daily resistance area. Okay, so it's not a good buy at the current market price, because remember this thing, it's a very strong resistance area on the daily time frame chart. Bounce, rejection, came back up, rejection, bounce, rejections, and it's only going to be a good position if it just breaks above and then goes like this. Okay, so I'm going to set alerts on Dash also. The moment the breakout happens, I would simply just wait for the retest part. But you could have just longed it at this retest also. This was another good opportunity, because on the 4-hour time frame chart, I believe that there was going to be a support around here. Small support around here. Okay, so Dash is kind of stuck in between these 2 points. It's not going to remain stuck forever, obviously. At some point in time, most probably the next few days, you're going to see a breakout happen, because there have already been too many retests of this resistance area. So obviously, just like the other coins also, it's going to have a major break above. But this is the next resistance, just to let you know, on Dash, which means that even if it just breaks above, it's going to see almost like 20% increase. Okay, because that's where the next major rejection could happen. Okay, obviously it's bull market. These coins, they're not going to stay long enough time under the resistance areas. At some point in time, you would see a major rejection happen. So Zeta, I guess I had a position on Zeta. I don't know if I executed it or not. Bybit, yeah, I did not give it out because it was a risky one. It was a kind of a risky position. But yeah, this was the position on Zeta. Okay, so it just went up almost like few hours ago. Oh, sorry, just at the time we started the live stream and the whole market started going up. So this was my point of interest on Zeta. So it's still trading under the resistance area. You can see I've already drawn the doodle. If it breaks above, consolidates, and then goes back down, this is what you have to bet. But in any case, it created 2 equal lows as well. So this was a very good opportunity to enter into Zeta, to be honest, because this was a point of interest also. Somehow it felt like a risky trade to me, because it was trading under the resistance area. And once again, just like I mentioned, you have to be very very strict on your approach. You cannot just give out every single trade, especially considering that you have already too many trades running, just like we had the case almost like a day or two ago. But we missed out on few really good setups. Okay, I must repeat this thing. Few really good setups like Zeta, like GME, like Tau, like XRP. We just completely, like Dodge as well, we completely missed out on all of these setups, because obviously there is this human limitation also. You cannot just scan 300 pairs at the same time. But in any case, that's my whole point of view about the market. And this live stream, it's going to be uploaded over YouTube as well. And if you guys may have any questions, please make sure to ping me in the general chat. Please make sure to ping me in the premium chat. You could simply just DM me. Thank you so much for joining in. And make sure that as soon as the live stream gets uploaded over YouTube, please make sure to just like the live stream. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to follow me over Twitter as well. We are running 2 giveaways at the same time. One is for lifetime mentorship and lifetime Foxian membership. It's extremely simple giveaway. I don't know exactly what the rules are, but I just completely forgot. I myself devised the rules for that giveaway almost 24 hours ago, but I just completely forgot about it. But there is this another Thanksgiving giveaway also, the one we did almost like 2 to 3 days ago. It was 3 monthly memberships, 1 week, 1 quarterly membership. The winners have already been announced. There is this another giveaway coming on Thanksgiving. It's only going to be about you simply just filling out a form, telling us about your personal experience about Foxian. How exactly your experience was. You just have to mention it like 4 or 5 different lines. The form is going to be available over our official website, Foxian's website, and you just have to fill out the form, and you will be able to participate in the giveaway. Once again, we are giving out like 3 monthly memberships, and then there is this lifetime mentorship giveaway as well. Okay, winner should be me. Okay, winner should be you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you once again. Thank you so much.